Let me know, can you now hear me, guys? Can you hear me now? I think it keeps going. I have to just come as I am. Guys, can you now hear me? I do hope you can hear me now. Can you now hear me? Emmy, can you hear me now? Because we need to do this. So guys, today I'm coming to you and I want to talk briefly about what to do when mistakes happen. Because I mean, we do work with people. I was trying to give a background information to say, I came to the UK on a COS. I came to the UK on a skilled worker visa and as a carer. And I've worked in nearly 4 different care work settings. I've worked in domiciliary care, which is how I came to the UK through a beautiful organization. I love to talk about this organization because they've been so good to me. They believed in me and they gave me a chance, and they gave me this life that I have, guys, that I love to share with you. This story that I have, it's all kudos to them. I've also worked in support work. I've also worked in a care home. I've also worked in a hospital setting. So I've actually come across different scenarios, different settings in which mistakes are made, because we are human at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we cannot deny the fact that in as much as we want everything that we do to turn out okay, to turn out great, we are bound to make mistakes because we are human beings. And because we also wake up every day and go to save other people, other human beings, we are bound to make mistakes. But the discussion today is about what is it that we can do when a mistake happens. How do we move forward when a mistake happens? So I've been privileged enough to work in organizations, different organizations, and how mistakes are handled in those organizations really are different, and I think they're worth sharing. So there are, I think, about 3 or 4 things that I want to talk about around mistakes and errors when you are working as a care worker or as a support worker. The first thing that I do feel is quite important is for you to accept that this is a mistake. Because I mean, the first thing that you have to prepare your mind every day or in this job is to the fact that mistakes, nobody wakes up and they want to make a mistake. Nobody wants to go to work and make a mistake. So when it does eventually happen, you own up to say, oh, I've made a mistake, or I've made an error. These mistakes do vary from gross mistakes where we talk about medication errors to even simple minor things like maybe you've broken someone's plate in someone's house, or you've stepped on dog mark whilst you were getting into the house, and then you begin to walk right across somebody's house and oh, that mark was going on someone's carpet. So all these things are mistakes. All these things are not the desirable outcomes that we expect when we go out there and we save people. But then what is it that we can do when those things happen? First part of all is accept I've made a mistake here. When you do that, because you're in someone's house, you're in someone's space, depending on the gravity or depending on the setting that you are in. If you are within the vicinity of that person, maybe something has happened, maybe you've broken something right in front of that person. First thing, apologize. Apologize to the person that you're offering care to. Apologize to the person that you're supporting. Apologize to the person involved in that. And when we do say apologize, it's not just apologizing just for the sake of it. One of the things that we love to talk about here on this platform is if you're a carer, then compassion is a big part of what you do. Showing sympathy, showing that you care, showing that you're considerate, showing that you are trying by all means to be in their shoes and you feel maybe the pain or the hurt that they're feeling. That goes a long way. And you know what? These people that we serve, the same way we can perceive to say, but that wasn't sincere, that wasn't from within, or you didn't mean that, they also do feel the same way. They could be vulnerable, they could be in a different situation from your situation, but they are still able to interpret when you are being genuine, when you're being compassionate. Of course, they do have different ways in which they can actually communicate their hate, communicate their hurt as an H-U-R-T, the way in which they can communicate their pain, the way they can communicate their frustration can be different. But as a carer, as a support worker, what you need to have in mind is that intelligence, that emotional intelligence to say, okay, I've done something that shouldn't have happened here. Of course, they are bound to be frustrated. They are maybe bound about to shout. Allow them to do that. Give them that chance. Give them an opportunity to be angry, to be hurt, to be frustrated, to, you know, because the same thing, if it were you, you could have reacted the same way. So allow somebody to react. Give them space, give them a few minutes, a few seconds to react. And in that moment, you're composing yourself to say, okay, at this point in time, I need to apologize. An apology, a simple sorry can go a long way. So as a carer, sometimes it's not everywhere where you need to go into defense mode. One of the things that I love to do and that have made me cope with a lot of situations, a lot of sometimes challenging and difficult situations is I lose nothing by apologizing. I lose nothing. I don't have to win all the time. I don't have to be right all the time. And one of the things that I've always learned through time, through learning, through, I don't know, everywhere else I've gone is the customer is always all right. The customer is always right. So in this case, what goes on in my mind is, okay, allow them to be hurt, allow them to react, allow them to be who they want to be in that moment in time. Because you don't want to escalate the whole situation. You don't want it to end up in a situation where she said, you said, he said, you did. So allow them, give them that space, and offer a sincere apology. After that, what is it that you can do? Depending on how they would have reacted, some they may say, get out of here, or they don't want to see you or anything. It's always important as well to be somebody who is honest and truthful. Then communicate to your manager, this is what has happened. Even when the service user or the client or the person that you're supporting, even they say, no, it's all right. No worries, don't worry. Always communicate with your manager to say, such and such happened. I've offered my apologies and they said it's okay. Nobody was hurt. Just describe the whole situation to your manager. Why is that important? Is because you just never know how this whole thing can actually come out or how it can be mentioned maybe later on. You don't want to come across as somebody who sweeps things under the carpet. So as carers, it's also part and parcel of our duty. Always communicate these things. Always share with the superior to say, oh, this is what happened and this is how I handled the situation. Well, I apologized and then they said it was okay. And if you want to be extra and be good, like I always say, document it. Write it down. Even when they say, no, it's okay, don't worry about it. Why do I say that? You could break something. You could do something. And then the person that you're directly saving or the person that you're directly supporting says, no, it's fine, no worries. But these people do have families. Then a family member comes and then they escalate the situation. You haven't said it to your supervisor. You have not mentioned it to your manager. How then do people go forward from there? Maybe it's when family and friends are involved, and then the service user or the person you're supporting then goes, I didn't even say that. You know, that was so dear to me. It meant a lot to me. How then will that portray you as a person? As a carer, how then will all of that unfold in front of your eyes? So it's very, very important. Even when they say, no, don't worry about it. Even when they say, no, it's okay. Even when they say they're frustrated, they are angry, just offer your apologies and then document. Let your manager know this is what happened in so and so's house, and I apologized, and this is how they reacted, or this is what they said, and after that, this is what I went on to do. So it's not a chance for you to try and explain why you haven't, or why such and such has happened, or whose fault it was. Sometimes when these errors do happen, it doesn't mean you were at fault. It doesn't always mean you were at fault. It doesn't mean you're always wrong. So how you handle that whole situation says a lot about you as a person. Guys, I will move on. After acceptance and everything, Obviously, as a carer, depending on where you work from, if you work with one person, good for you. But then again, you don't want that one mistake to bother you all day, or to make you start to judge and be harsh on yourself. Show yourself grace. This is a mistake. This was unintentional. You've apologized for it. You've let your manager know. It's always important for you to, take 5 minutes to, think about it, but also to find time and space to get over it. Why? Because there is other things to be done throughout the day. There's other people who are relying on you to offer service. So when you begin to be harsh on yourself and to see yourself as somebody who is clumsy, how then are you going to carry yourself throughout the day? How then are you going to show up for everyone else throughout the day? So it's very, very important for you to say, okay, this has happened. I've apologized for it. I've let my manager know. Nobody's hurt. Nothing has happened to anyone. No one is in harm's way. Okay, I have to pick myself up and I have to show up for other people as well throughout the day. Even when you know that issue is going to be escalated or anything, show yourself grace as a carer. No, you do your best. You wake up and you show up to give your best. How things may turn out, sometimes it's undesirable and sometimes we've no control over it. So allow yourself that time to say, well, I'm going to pick myself up and I'll show up for the next person and I'll show up for the rest of the shift. I'll show up for my team throughout the day. That's very, very important in care, especially after mistakes do happen. And always know you're not the first one. Always know you're not going to be the last one. I'm not saying this so that we can be clumsy, but I say this so that we learn to give ourselves grace. Because I used to be that person who would beat herself up all day, thinking about it, judging myself, being unkind to myself. It took, talking to other people as well, talking to mature, wise people that can tell you, Flo, these things do happen. And we know you are a good person. We know your intentions were good. It's just unfortunate. So also depending on your role in care as well, if you're a supervisor, if you're a care manager, if you're a coordinator, if you're somewhere senior, always be somebody who can offer support to your team. Always be somebody who offer kindness to the rest of your team, because it makes a whole lot of a difference. It's called supporting your team. So always show them grace. We are not saying sweep things under the carpet. We are not saying do not investigate things. Investigate things, but also show grace. Also show kindness to your team. It goes a long way. Thank you so much, Emmy's Diaries. We do love you back. Guys, if you're joining us, we're just reminding each other of some of the things that we can do after mistakes do happen. So I'll just go to the next one. It's also important for you to reflect, to review the whole incident, to say, okay, such and such happened. What went wrong? What could have gone wrong? What is it that I could have done better? How else in the future, what is it that I can do to avoid a similar situation? On a personal level, in as much as maybe within your organization, they'll also try and put in measures. They'll also try and reflect on the whole situation. But it's very, very important, if you're a carer, if you want to become a good carer, always reflect on situations. Take the time to look at situations, think about them in an honest way, in a kind way, kind to yourself. Review that situation and say, what could have gone wrong? What is it that I could have done better? In next time, if the same thing happens, or if I'm faced with the same situation, what is it that I can do differently to avoid the same mistake? So when you do that, you're also teaching yourself, you're also learning. So what are some of the things? I would love to just point out a few things. What are some of the things that can actually result in these mistakes? I always love when people are honest enough to say, in this country, people do work and people do work hard. There's so much that goes on in this country. You just wonder why. So sometimes you could have just been fatigued on that particular day, and then an error or a mistake happens. You could have been, maybe you've got something going on in your mind. We all know, if we want to be honest, we know in this country, there's childcare, there's a lot of things. We have family who is far, thousands and thousands of miles away. Probably they are not well, or probably a family member is not too well, or finances is going on. Have an honest review. If you feel maybe it's because of fatigue, then you'll know, I need to rest more next time, or I need to be vigilant. If you know maybe something was bothering you, maybe next time I need to let my supervisor know, so that if I need a few days off work, just so that I can sort myself out. It's very, very important. At the end of the day, we want to show up and offer the best version of ourselves to the people that we support, to the people that we care for. So you can only pinpoint these things when you do take the time to reflect on situations, reflect on circumstances, reflect on incidents. I love to call them lessons learned from an incident. So whatever, whether something is negative or positive, when it does happen, there is always something to learn out of it. So take the time to draw lessons from, those situations. Sometimes it could be simple things like maybe you have been multitasking, or maybe you haven't managed your time so well, and then you're now trying to rush through things. It's very, very important for you to identify the root cause, and then you can address it. And one of the things I want to emphasize and stress on is the fact that when these mistakes do happen, it doesn't mean you're a bad carer. It doesn't mean you're somebody who is clumsy. It doesn't mean you're doomed. We've all been there. We are all going to be there. We'll come across these things. No wonder why we are talking about them, so that you avoid them, so that you can cope well when they do happen. And sometimes when you do feel you need someone to talk to, something has happened and you still do feel you need someone to talk to, find someone, reach out to someone and talk to someone. It's very, very important. Guys, the last thing I want to talk about, when mistakes do happen, you're offering care, you're supporting someone, and then mistakes do happen. You should always, always then draw an action plan of how you're going to address it, how you're going to address future incidents. One of the things that the reason why I said have an action plan of what you're going to do is always, always then draw lessons. When you do draw these lessons, sometimes it's even important for you to share with the rest of your team. If you're someone who is confident and who feels you're in a good team where you get support, share your experience with others, so that that very same thing will not happen. Of course, depending with your team, I'm not saying overshare. I'm not saying go to everyone and share. Sometimes maybe there's just that one person that, if I go to so-and-so and I offload and I share, probably I'll feel better, or probably I'll get support, or I'll get all the advice that I need with that situation. So it's very, very important when you have reflected, when you have sat down with yourself and you're drawing an action plan, part of that action plan should involve sharing with others, so that a similar thing will not be repeated. Guys, if you're joining us, we are just talking about some of the mistakes that will happen in care. I do hope with time, when I find time, I'm hoping to be coming quite frequently, so that we can reflect on some of these things. Why I do feel we need to talk about it is because it's the only way we can grow. Sometimes I always love to say, I don't want, if I have passed through somewhere, if I've been through a certain situation, I wouldn't want a fellow countrywoman, a fellow countryman, a fellow care worker to go through the same thing. If I can find a way of sharing without maybe breaking, obviously, policies and rules and regulations, I love to share, so that we can all learn, so that we can all be better carers, better citizens, better responsible people, and we offer the best version of ourselves. So guys, this is all that I had today, and I do hope we continue with these reflective discussions, reflective topics, where we are reflecting on the work that we do, where we are reflecting on the service that we offer, so that we become the best version of ourselves. Guys, my apologies. My microphone wasn't, I don't know, I think it's all about setup and everything. It's something new, and I do hope with time I will get better. Guys, thank you so much for your continued support. Continue to share these videos. Our goal, our aim is no carer should be found in a situation. Guys, my heart goes out to all the newbies. We want to be the best version of ourselves. I do trust you as a community. I do trust the people here. I know you guys, you can deliver given a chance. I know you guys are delivering wherever you are. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm so proud of our community, guys. Continue doing well. Continue sharing with us. If you do have anything that you feel, Flo, we need to talk about this, just reach out to me. Send me a DM. Put it in the comments and we can share and talk about it. Guys, this is all that I had from me to you guys, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much, and take care. Have a good night, have a good day, have a good morning. Love you. Thank you.